Hoeflation has made relationships not worth trying anymore. Get a job you like and ignore women. Modern men have to work 5 times harder than their grandfathers did, only to get women 20 times worse than what their grandmothers were. Hoeflation has destroyed and is still destroying men's desires to be providers and protectors.
You have capped out, according to Texas guidelines, your gross is $9,200 a month. Child support is set at $2,300. You're going to do a reimbursement to Medicaid for $276, making your monthly child support payment $2,576.
That's how much you gotta pay.
No, that's how much you gotta pay.
City boy! City boy!
The children live with him. He should not pay you anything.
Thank you.
And I said I made my ruling, so I really don't have to hear anything further. Did you have any questions about that number?
I'm making an effort, so I expect you to make an effort. So don't just assume that I'm going to be able to drop off my child somewhere, because most likely I'm not. So unless you're offering to pay for the babysitter, I'm not going on that date. Also, offer to pay for the babysitter. That's going to make me more receptive to want to go and spend my time with you.
The entitlement of these single mothers never gets old. Modern women are always talking about independent woman this, independent woman that. And they always put an emphasis on being able to pay their own bills, right fellas? Some even go as far to say that they're the mother and father and celebrate Father's Day. What this actually exposes is that independent women don't really want to be independent on any level. That's why this independent, boss babe, single mother believes that if a man wants to take her out on a date, he should pay for her responsibility, her babysitter. This is why single fathers do a lot better. We're not looking for a handout, and we understand that the world isn't here to save us. Run away from women like this, fellas. Run.
I'm looking for the...
For one, I'm not paying for everybody's food. It's your birthday, cool, but I'm not doing that. It's 18.
Why don't you gotta pay for all y'all food though?
You brought 18 friends. I'm finna leave you. You staying here with them or you coming with me? Are you?
Whoa, bro!
Why do women think they are a 10 when they are fat and getting old with kids? And their kids' fathers are out of the picture. Now they need a meal ticket and they ask us where all the good men are. Modern women only want chads, and guess what? Those men don't want you. Just because you have a pussy does not make you a princess or a queen. A man only wants a woman who treats him well, and of course sex, and not to be overweight. Hoeflation has made relationships not worth trying anymore. Get a job you like and ignore women. Modern men have to work 5 times harder than their grandfathers did, only to get women 20 times worse than what their grandmothers were. Hoeflation has destroyed, and is still destroying men's desires to be providers and protectors. Modern women have an overinflated sense of entitlement. There are a lot of reasons, but to put it simply, third-wave feminism has brainwashed them into believing that they are perpetual victims simply because of the fact that they were born women, and therefore this society owes them something for oppressing them, while the spread of wokeness and cancel culture has made it so that anyone who disagrees with the pro-feminist narrative is automatically deemed politically incorrect, insensitive, and cancelled. Third-wave feminism has also ingrained in these women the idea that about everything they don't like about society is empowering and brave, as it challenges the status quo of the patriarchy, even if in reality these so-called problems are more often than not over-exaggerated, self-inflicted, or really not that big of a deal. Yet, regardless of that, modern feminism has a powerful ability to somehow always make it the patriarchy's fault, quote unquote. Many of these entitled women are also given special treatment and attention by men and women alike. The former is because so many men are so desperate for female attention that they'll simp and become socially leftist sycophants in return for even the slightest hint of female approval. And the latter because women have been told that the male gender as a whole is the oppressor, the enemy, and a potential rapist. And so every male stranger that they come across is to be approached with caution, while their fellow women are to be treated with compassion, empathy, and friendliness by default until proven otherwise. Also, any criticism against a woman or the female gender is now automatically labeled by the woke crowd as misogynistic, no matter how valid or true it may be. And so, people and media outlets have become afraid of being perceived as being even slightly critical towards women or the feminist movement. Otherwise, they risk getting instantly swarmed by a mob of chronically online feminists who will shut them down and call for them to be cancelled en masse for going against the feminist narrative of all women are wonderful. To sum it up, Western women have been growing up in an environment where they're not only constantly told that they're the victim of the patriarch bougie man for just being a woman, but also that they are the superior gender because they aren't like those no good men who are doing all the oppressing and violence in the world. Mix in the absence of criticism towards women and feminism in today's mainstream media and the politically correct world, and you end up having an echo chamber where even the average and below average women are told that they deserve only the best, and that their behavior or unrealistic expectations are not the problem, but rather it's all the men around them who are the issue in society as well for enabling these men. And that if they do meet a man who has remotely any kind of standards as to who they want to date and invest their time, money, and energy into a long-term relationship with, see the recent controversy with Jonah Hill and his far-left loony of an ex, for example, then they are controlling and abusive. And that woman should just find someone else. But if you as a woman do the exact same thing and have high expectations and requirements of what you want your partner to be, then you are just setting boundaries and you know your worth. The lack of self-awareness in how hypocritical and one-sided their entitlement and unrealistic expectations are why so many of these same women keep on getting into this vicious cycle, where they either can't find a good man because they're simply not a good woman themselves but can't admit what their faults are so they can work on them, or they fall for the wrong type of guy over and over again. But instead of trying to understand why they are attracted to these types of men, they'd often instead become bitter feminists who blame the entire male gender and the big bad patriarchy for their failures in dating because that's easier than actually putting the work in to understand what attracts a good man. Again, see Jonah Hill's ex for a perfect example of this type of behavior. The people who do grow as individuals and mature in life are the ones who learn how to adapt and compromise. But when you're as entitled and delusional about what your self-worth is as many of these Western women are, you never learn these life skills and instead sit back and complain while expecting the world and the people around you to be the ones who change so that they cater to you and your desires. It's why Jonah Hill is now in a happy relationship with his new girlfriend, and they recently welcomed their first child together, while his ex, Sarah Brandy, is still bitter about a 5-month-long relationship that she had with Mr. Hill almost 2 years ago, as evident by her constantly posting Instagram stories ranting about how unfair the world is to her. Western women have lost their feminine side. Should I even say lost? No, they didn't lose it, they shredded it and set the ribbons ablaze. Honestly, the governments of the West allow women to run around and misbehave. They're basically spoiled children who have never learned to fear a beating. They're allowed to set standards like what a real man is and how he should treat a female. But when have you heard of a man telling what a real woman is or how they should treat a man? It's basically how they feel, and since emotions are constantly changing, so do their so-called standards. The West is doomed. Anyway, that's all for today on Manhood. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons, and also click on the notification bell to be the first to know when I drop a new video. If you find value in my videos, you can show your support through PayPal or Cash App. The links are in the description. See you next time.